I'd like to extend a really warm welcome to all the students who have joined us here in this breakout session, right? And let me just start with a small introduction. Okay, so I personally have been looking forward to this session by Ferris State University, and from what I gather, it's going to be informational as well as interactive. So please feel free to ask questions. Keep discussion lively. Come forth with your questions at any time, right? And today we have quite an exciting panel for you. We have Dr. Piram Prakasam, who's the Executive Director in the Office of International Education at Ferris State University. He's joined by Phil Renato, who's a Professor of Product Design at the Kendall College of Art and Design at Ferris State University. His colleague, Jonathan Maroney, is also with Kendall College of Art and Design, and he happens to be the program chair for industrial design. So the session today is going to focus on product design in the United States, with a special focus on jewelry design, furniture design, and industrial design. So let me not hold you guys back. Over to you, gentlemen. I wish you all the best for a good session. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you for inviting us. Greetings, everyone. As Amit mentioned, my name is Piram Prakasam. I'm the Executive Director for International Education. I'm also a faculty member at Ferris State University. As you see on the screen, we KCAD Ferris State University. So let me quickly walk you through a little bit about Ferris State University and KCAD. And then I'm going to give the floor to Professor Jonathan Maroney and Phil Renato to talk about the product design program they have at Ferris State. Ferris State is one of the 15 public universities in the state of Michigan. And this is an institution that's 137 years old. And as I said, it's one of the 15 public universities located on the western side of the state of Michigan, closer to the Canadian border up north. And Michigan is one of the industrial states in the United States. You've heard about Detroit, which is the car manufacturing. The city of Detroit is the city that everybody knows for cars. And one of the things that people may have not been familiar outside the United States, Grand Rapids, where Kendall College of Art and Design, which is located, is one of the design cities in the United States focusing on furnitures. That is the historical root of Grand Rapids. And you're going to hear a lot more about design when Professor Jonathan Maroney and Phil Renato are going to talk about design programs at Kendall College of Art and Design. I have a few slides I'm going to quickly walk through, and then I'll open the floor for questions, and then Professor Jonathan Maroney is going to talk about product design. And so greetings from Kendall College of Art and Design and Ferris State University. Kendall College of Art and Design is one of the premier art and design schools in the state of Michigan within Ferris State University. We are located in Grand Rapids as a Kendall College of Art and Design. And we have programs all the way from interior design, graphic design, fashion design, architecture, and also a master's program in architecture and master's program in design. And so if you look at the picture that I have, or the PowerPoint presentation I share, I see the red area that you see on the left side is the state of Michigan in the United States. And right in the middle is where Ferris State University is located. And you can see this is the main campus where we have many of the 120 programs we have. But Kendall College of Art and Design is located in the second largest city called Grand Rapids. I'm going to quickly walk through these slides. And our university's focus, as you see in the picture, is very applied, hands-on, practical, all the way from welding engineering to pharmacy, doctorate in pharmacy. I'm going to skip many of these slides so that we can get to Kendall. In the main campus of Ferris, we do have some design programs, one in design, graphic design, which is primarily focusing on business aspect of graphic design. We also have animation game design. We have a graphic media management and television television media production. I'm going to skip all of these and this is a list of all the design programs we have in the Kendall College of Art and Design. This is a quick snapshot of it, all the way from collaborative design, all the way to art history. And everything in between at undergraduate level. And you do have a very wide range of scholarship opportunities at Ferris. If you're interested to apply to Ferris State, you would know that our tuition is very affordable compared to many other institutions in the United States. The typical cost is around $20,000 US per year for tuition and $10,000 for living expenses. That comes to a total of $30,000 per year. But our scholarship program is very, very attractive. You get the highest scholarship up to $10,000, bringing the total cost to close to $20,000 US per year. And our scholarship are all purely merit-based. And so if you have the requisite GPA and your TOEFL or IELTS score, you automatically qualify when you apply to this university. And beyond that, when you are in this university, you also have opportunities to apply for additional scholarship beyond what you get on the first time when you apply to the university. And you're quickly seeing the list of all the steps that you have to do to apply to the university. There is an online application. Beyond that, you have to submit your official transcripts, a statement of purpose explaining why you're interested in studying in that particular program. You also have to submit a portfolio, which is basically showing that you have creativity. And that's all we are looking for to qualify for these programs. And then a proof of adequate financial resources that is required by the US government for you to get a visa. And of course, we need a proof of English proficiency, even if you went to an IB school in India. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing and invite Professor Jonathan Maroney and Phil Renato to talk about the product design program.
Thank you very much.
Do you share?
Yeah, do you have the slides? Because I can't share my screen. Do you have this? Oh,
I can
there
do
we
that.
go.
I can do that.
No, I do have it actually. I can share it.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay, go ahead,
Yep.
please.
Yeah, earlier I didn't think I could, but it looks like I can. Great. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to go through some slides that talk a little bit about Kendall and the product design program at Kendall. And hopefully John agrees with the way that I'm characterizing things here. But John and I are both at Kendall College of Art and Design, which again is a college within Ferris State University. This is our website. We have a lot of different programs, as you were just hearing. Product design is a program that shares a lot of courses together. So common coursework. We help you develop strong research habits, transform your rough ideas into feasible concepts. We teach you how to workshop, how to bring those things to market. And then we help you acquire the tech to bring compelling and transformative new things into the world. So, you know, like all of the programs at Kendall, it's creativity based, and the things that we are creating are types of products. Within the course, after we have the shared courses that we have 3 different concentrations, one in furniture design, one in industrial design, and one in metals and jewelry design. So every product design major has one of those 3 concentrations, and I'm just going to talk about them briefly. I think of furniture stressing functional kind of physical objects, or designing functional physical objects, from the classical to the contemporary, using kind of traditional and contemporary materials to design innovative and beautiful furnishings for the home or office. The coursework brings all, you know, so even if you're not a furniture design concentration, we think this helps you integrate for period styles and be able to integrate new ideas into kind of traditional marketplaces. Industrial design is a much who's on this call with us is an industrial designer. It's a much broader discipline where the type of object that you know the design solution might take is not necessarily known in it. It's the most open-ended of our programs and tends to attract students who have a passion for solving difficult problems, thinking common attitudes and approaches, and focusing on how we improve the lives of people, of users, significant and subtle ways. For students who are furniture or jewelry concentrations, we think the industrial design courses and kind of having those other students in there helps you basically challenge assumptions that you might have. Innovation is kind of the big goal, or one of the big things that happen design. And then the metals and jewelry design concentration, which is what I, kind of head up, is the most kind of romantic of our programs, is how I think about it. Mostly we have projects that are highly technical or functional, or we sometimes have projects that are highly technical or functional. Most of our work is about beauty. It's about material and how something is made. It's about symbols. And we think that we are offering something to the other that helps them understand how materials and processes work, have a little bit more intimate scale. So that's a little bit about the that we have. And then I have just a big kind of deck of images here of various student work that has been done in those three in those three areas over the years. And this is our main building. Jewelry and industrial design are going to be on that second floor right there. And I think actually furniture is going to be down there with us as well pretty soon. So John, do you want to talk for a little while I just kind of move forward in these slides?
Sorry, I'm answering questions in the chat here.
Oh, great. Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Do you want to keep talking while I do that?
Sure, I'll do that. So there are two buildings right here. So this is our main building, and then right next to it is our newer building, which is actually a restored historic building. So between this is our entire campus. So again, we're about 45 minutes from the Ferris State University main. This is just a little bit of our work. This is some of my work. I'm kind of a jeweler and an object maker. This is something that John worked on some time ago. It's kind of this fun, thing called sled legs, which is this, way to sled or to slide down a snow hill. One of our colleagues, Joe Parr, and some of his really interesting vessel forms that he's on. And then the rest of this is all student and alumni work. So this is a former jewelry student who designed and is now marketing this little kind of dispenser for jewelers' saw blades. Students who go on to do commercial jewelry design. Students kind of mass-produced furniture, but also do things like these one-of-a-kind vehicles. This is one of our alumni, Joey Ryder. Product design is something really we are trying to merge together different disciplines. So Anina, who graduated 2 years ago, I believe, was an industrial design minor and a furniture design major, but she also had a bunch of experience in metals and jewelry design. And I think she brought those sensitivities together. Her work really outstanding, and that's what we're hoping to do in general. Metals and jewelry, as you can imagine, is very hands-on. This is one of our students casting some silver or some bronze some time ago. That same student, large electroformed vessels. We do a lot of model making in our programs, especially in industrial and furniture design. So a lot of scale models, both kind of functional models, how does something work, but also aesthetic models, how does something look. These are kind of some showcases that we have outside the classrooms where we exhibit some of the projects, some of the prototypes that students have built. One of the differences within the jewelry, which is again, metals and jewelry design, is that we tend to build everything at real scale, and we tend to build everything out of final materials, right? So we aren't typically making prototypes that are provisional materials, but we are generally working towards finished objects, which may be one of a kind or maybe prototypes for larger production runs. Our furniture design concentration is really unique in that it is highly historically based. They do a lot of contemporary work as well, but it really is rooted in period styles from the past and figuring out ways to update those and bring them into the present. So I'm just gonna stop talking for a second and see if you guys want to give me any instruction on my pace or how things are going here. John, anything to add, or how's the chat going?
I think it looks great.
Okay. So again, just more images of stuff that students have done. Here's an example. Hayden was, really concentrated in furniture, but also did a lot of industrial design classes. I happen to have taught 3D modeling. So while my background is in silversmithing and goldsmithing, I've come to specialize in 3D modeling. So I helped Hayden to acquire the kind of skill he needs to execute this, this technical rendering. Within jewelry, we will sometimes do things that come a little bit closer to being in design, or things that industrial designers have typically done. So sometimes we will work on things like flatware. So this is something that one of our students did a few years ago. And somebody in our last session, I'm sorry, got me.
Aniruddha Mahanta is asking, can you also show us your workshop facilities? Do we have some pictures of it?
Yeah. I wish I did. I wish I did. I didn't think to include those, but I can find one and at the end. So I definitely have some somewhere. I just don't have them in here. So, okay. But I'll find it. Yes. In the last session, somebody was asking about drawing, and I just wanted to kind of stress that while drawing is a whole at Kendall, as you can imagine, because we're an art and design school, drawing is something we do all the time. So you can tell that these are hand sketches. This is pencil, right? But what might not be clear is that this is also a drawing, right? And now this happens to have been done on a screen in Photoshop, but it's nonetheless, this is not a 3D model. This is a drawing. And so that tends to be, kind of central to what we do, is thinking, drawing and communicating it. So again, more drawing. A lot of 3D model, also, lots of just kind of traditional marker renderings and things like that. So one of the goals with product design is to have students exposed to not just all of the things that we do at Kendall, the foundation courses, but also to mix industrial, jewelry, and furniture students together, such that they'll do more things like this. This was a jewelry student who was really interested in doing wearable technology. So she developed something that she thought of as being fine jewelry, but also developed a user interface, right? And tried to really think through the entire process of, communicating this digital that had to do with couples, romances, within this ring system that she developed. And so we're hoping that, product design majors are going to be more likely to mix these various aspects or ways of working together as we go forward. This is an example of what a thesis project might look like from a jewelry student. So this is, I believe 18 karat yellow gold project that a student of ours worked on years ago. It's a pendant. So one thing I'll just say really briefly is what a thesis is. Typically, I shouldn't say typically, every program at Kendall, as you are on your way out the door, you're in your last semester or 2 semesters typically, you are going to be asked to develop something original. So rather than responding to particular prompts that we have given, where we want you to design this or that, you have to decide what you want to design and then justify that project based on your future goals. So this was one of our students, Kylie Chaw, who was interested in doing fashion jewelry. And so she worked with a manufacturer in China, which is where she was from, and she did all of the design work and they made all of the samples for her. And that was really part of her project, was to learn how to work with manufacturers. This was a much more technical project based on something called electroforming. So while this silver body looks like maybe it was made out of sheet metal, it was actually grown with copper crystals in what's called an electroplating or electroforming bath. Something we were talking about in the other session was that Michigan, and West Michigan specifically, it has an industrial base. And one of the industries there in Grand Rapids is furniture, and specifically contract furniture. So things like or companies like Herman Miller and Steelcase are based there. So lots of our students, whether they're from industrial design or furniture design backgrounds, end up being really interested in and find a lot of success doing contract furniture. Whereas jewelry is kind of the opposite end. Jewelry can be designed to have things mass produced. Many times jewelry is something that is one-off because it's, in this case, a commission for someone. So that's one of the things we try to balance, those scales from the one to the many. Or in this case, kind of a series production.
So this is a good one. A few have asked about, can you go back, Phil? A few have asked about UX. Yeah, UX and UI design. So Kendall does not have a program specifically focused on UX and UI, but several programs like product design have aspects of it. And so this is an example of work from a student who was interested in UX, UI, and digital interfaces. And what we teach in product design is the relationship between the digital product and the physical product. So this is a concept that the physical product on the left takes the vitals of a patient through some infrared scanning and things like that. And then on the right is an iPad app that helps people, look at their health information on a daily basis. Imagine they're trying to recover from a sickness or something like that, or post-op. And so the student designed the software and the hardware as part of one system. And that's the biggest difference. We try to teach system level thinking like that. And students that are passionate about digital interfaces can get a minor, and take courses like user experience design, interaction design, web design, all those kind of things, from graphic design, digital art and design, and some of the coursework within product design, and sort of build that competency and apply it through their studio projects.
And Jonathan, there is an international competition Kendall College of Art and Design hosts. I'm looking at the kind of questions Aniruddha is asking, Mahanta is asking. He's asking about sustainability, and I was thinking if you can talk a little bit about this WEGI competition that Kendall hosts. Maybe some of the students who may not apply to Ferris or may not yet apply to Ferris, they can still participate in the competition. Would one of you talk a little bit more and maybe point to them so that they can join the competition in the future?
Sure thing. So I will try to find that link while I'm talking here. So Kendall actually helps organize and facilitate an international sustainability competition called the WEGI Prize. And so this is a global competition, and students from institutions all over the world compete. And I'll throw the link here in the chat if you want to check it out. And these are basically triple bottom line ideas. So it's about sustainability, it's about people and profit. And students work in teams. You're supposed to work with students from at least 2 different institutions and different disciplines. But it's one of the ways that we support sustainability, in addition to the sustainable design courses that we have. The Masters in Design curriculum talks about sustainability quite a bit as well.
And this is a good opportunity
look for those
students to compete. It's a good competition to participate because they get the international exposure staying where they are. But the faculty spend several months helping the students to compete. Once you're narrowed down to 6 or 8 teams, then you work with the teams for several months, and then finally you present it to a panel of judges to be selected. It's a good competition to participate if you're a design student or you're currently interested in studying in design.
So the website link that I shared, if you look at who the finalists are on the teams, the countries represented include Costa Rica, Ghana, Uganda, China, South Korea, Chile. There's a few others on there, I think, just from memory. But Yeah, so it's very much a global competition.
I'm looking for those pictures of the studios right now, and I'll be able to share them in just a minute.
John, would you be able to talk about opportunities for students applying to the product design program in terms of internship, job placements, and possibilities for them?
Somebody asked a question about that in the chat a little while ago about live projects. So one of the things that we are very passionate about in the program is providing students a lot of exposure to industry. And we do that through a couple different ways. Some of our courses are taught by adjuncts who work as designers for some of these big companies that we've talked about. For example, our visual presentation instructor works for Bissell Corporation, designing products by day and teaching at night for us. We do sponsored project work with different companies. So a company, say, like a furniture company like Hayworth, may sponsor a studio, and the students will work and interact with the designers and the leaders within that company for a whole semester. We invite outside professionals to come for critiques and presentations for students to give them feedback. We do portfolio review sessions where students can have their work reviewed by professionals for feedback and possibly internships. And then we also help place students in internships. So we make a lot of connections to the industry, and it's a big part of what we do. And we're located in an area where there is a lot of industry and a lot of manufacturing, and it really drives the growth of the design field year over year.
John, one other question that somebody asked on chat, Neha Gururaj, does the jewelry program, let me read the question, does the jewelry design program field have a good scope post-COVID?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Post-COVID, what is the scope of the field of jewelry design?
Yeah. How is jewelry design doing post-COVID, Phil? How is the industry doing in general?
Oh, it's actually interesting. As far as I know, it is still doing well. So my friends and colleagues who are in the jewelry industry doing very well, by which I mean the fine jewelry industry. The art jewelry field is not seeming to do quite as well. And by that I mean fine jewelry is typically sold in a jewelry store. Art jewelry is typically sold in an art gallery or at a large craft fair. And especially those craft fairs, I believe, and hit pretty hard. So right now, the more eccentric or unusual jewelry, which we might call art jewelry, I think is doing very well. But fine jewelry, for various reasons, seems to still be doing very well. For a second, I thought you were asking about the studio and COVID. So these are old pictures of the studio. I'm sharing my screen right now, right? You guys can see that?
Yep, you're sharing a screen, Phil.
Yeah.
But quickly,
Sure.
before
yeah, so this is the old.
There are two questions they have. How old is the School of Design?
I was just posting that. So Kendall was founded in 1928, so we're over 90 years old. And what is the class strength like? Did you mean to say what is the class size like?
Yep. What would be a typical class size be? 10 students, 20 students?
So our classes are typically between 10 and 12 students. Some of them are even as small as 6 to 8. Depending on, so 10 to 1 is about average. So we tend to have much smaller class sizes, and our classes run for the studios anyway, 2 days a week for 3 hours each session. So the students get about 6 hours of contact time with the instructor every week, and we spend a lot of time in class working with student. And making sure that they are mastering the craft that they're studying, making sure that they understand the principles and the new skills and things like that.
And Phil, if you want to show your slides back up again.
Oh, yeah. So, I was just showing the studio, and one thing I wanted to say is these are fairly old images of the studio. These were maybe 15 years ago or so. I can't find the brand new ones, but we so that you can see how everything's bunched together right now, and everything is much more spread out now, which is good for not only post-COVID, speaking, back to how the studio is doing, but also, it's just good for the way it works. So it doesn't really look like this anymore. Our jewelry studio is incredibly high tech. So we have almost every jewelry scale technology that exists. This would be the image I could find at the last minute. I should have thought of that. So thank you for somebody asking. But we have an excellent wood shop. So, the product design major would be working anywhere from, small metal to large wood pieces, and then maybe even going across the street to sculpture, where we have things like TIG welders and things like that. So we have really excellent facilities for physical making of things. Oh, amazing digital fabrication lab that has every kind of 3D and laser cutter, CNC machining, every type of high-tech thing there is. So I think we presented what we wanted to about our program, which is to say about product design and the kind of mixing of those three different concentrations that we have. One thing that maybe didn't come across here is that there is a really nice relationship between the college, which is about 45 minutes from the main university, which is to say that almost all of the programs at the university, as well as Kendall College of Art, are highly practical or pragmatic or, applied in the way that we approach things. So, Kendall and Ferris don't tend to be institutions that are terribly theory driven. They're practice or outcome driven.
So there's one more very last question, maybe John is answering. Aniruddha Mahanta is asking, are there technical experts in the studios and workshops to guide the students how to use the different machines? Oh, yeah, we answered the question.
Yeah, I think John answered that pretty well, which is, yes, we have excellent technicians. Typically, students don't get support from the staff on the making of the prototypes themselves, which is to say they can ask questions, they can get help, but typically the staff aren't making the prototypes if that's what's being asked. And I know that does happen at a few schools, but typically it's prototypes always. Yeah. And one of the goals with the product, go ahead.
No, go on, please go on.
Oh, sure. One of the goals with the product design major is to get is to break down the disciplinary walls a little bit, which is to say, even if is doing something that is about, let's say, some sort of high-tech device that doesn't make sense in a jewelry context, I, as the person, be able to offer something at the prototyping stage, or a suggestion about materials, or to teach somebody how to weld or solder, some kind of, some part of their prototype. And one of the things we haven't mentioned is that there are many other programs at Kendall which support as well. So for instance, in furniture design space, we have an entire part of our sculpture program is dedicated towards making one-of-a-kind furniture. So the product design majors, internally can help each other. The faculty can help the students from the major. Also, there are resources that help product that we can interact with meaningfully. John, do you think we hit most of our big things? Did you have anything else you want to add, or recharacter anything I said?
No, how many faculty are in the College of Kendall College of Art and Design, approximately, ballpark?
Yeah, Kendall is about full-time faculty and about another 60 part-time faculty.
Excellent. And So in terms of, when we talk a little bit about the admissions process for undergraduate degree programs. So student, what are the documents that students typically have to submit to get admitted in the university for art and design? I mean, I know the answer, right?
Go, John.
Yeah, so they have to submit a portfolio of some of their creative work. I believe 8 to 10 pieces, and it's kind of up to the student to decide, you know, what they consider creative and what represents their creativity, and that can be anything from drawings to paintings to photography to maybe writing, or if you made a video or something like that. The student kind of gets to choose what they put in their portfolio, and I believe there might be an essay or something that goes with that too now.
It's
very flexible admissions process.
So they would have to submit a statement of purpose.
Yeah, I'm answering this question right now.
And a portfolio, apart from submitting an online application form, English proficiency, and a passport copy and a financial statement, which typically is needed to get a visa appointment with the U.S. Embassy to get permission to travel to the U.S. The financial statement is really required as part of the U.S. government's requirements. But for admissibility, we would need the statement of purpose, your portfolio, your online application form, your English proficiency, and a copy of your passport. If you have any question, please don't hesitate to type on the chat. And if you're interested in having a one-on-one meeting, I put some links on the chat. You can click on it. There is an appointment in a Calendly that allows you to set up a meeting. If you indicate that you wanted to meet with a faculty member, typically we make arrangements so that you can talk directly to one of the faculty program coordinators or an educational counselor who can walk you through the steps to apply to the university.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked a question, and I'm sorry I don't know how to pronounce your name, but about jewelry design class. I'm wondering any specific about what kind of what classes we offer, our emphasis in terms of jewelry.
Are there any designing courses available? Yeah, we do have a lot of jewelry designing courses offered. That was one of the questions. And one stream in the product design is actually
and that's
good.
Right, and that's my specialty. So I'd be happy to answer questions about that.
Hiram, do you know, does this breakout session go until 4?
And we have around 33 people participating in it, so
okay.
we can answer broadly questions.
So we're not going to get cut off though, or anything?
Yeah, we're not going to get cut off.
Okay.
We're continuing. I can ask them. So we do not have a graduate program in product design. We have a master's degree in design, not specifically in product design, Aniruddha. And there is Tarun Saminathan. I'm an undergraduate in electronics and communication engineering. So am I eligible for master's in product design?
Right, and as we were just saying there, we don't have a master's in product design. Now, what we do have is a master's of architecture degree, which might be interesting, or you might put it in, but obviously that's somewhat different than product design. Just for fun, lots of product designers have backgrounds as architects. That is a not uncommon route.
Mm-hmm. And we have a more generalized master's in design degree that teaches things like sustainability and leadership and design research and things that help people apply design thinking, in a work environment. Oops.
All right. At 2, so that means we still have 20 minutes. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I could share a little bit more student work if you guys would like.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sounds
Definitely.
great.
That'd be good.
Okay. So the students in the product design program do all kinds of interesting things and typically work on really diverse projects that could include things like transportation products, like the bicycle that you see here, or we talked about furniture design projects. Here you can see an example of just some quick sketching, rapid ideation around concepts, mock-ups and experimenting with things in space, refining concepts, and then, final design. So this is a desking type concept for working at home, sit to stand. They work on electronics, consumer products like headphones. So this is a product that was done in Phil's class, actually, for digital modeling. You can see they're experimenting with different colors and materials and finishes. Here we have a consumer product that is more of a power or a tool, an accessory to a tool, driver, and then you can see more electronics. This is a product that monitors people's health. This is a water bottle. No, it's a walking. I got that wrong. And we touched on that one before. Let's see. So this is a concept for when I reference healthcare. This is a device that helps to move patients from a bed to a wheelchair. And so you can see experimenting with ideas, and then here their final concept. You can see it kind of goes under the person, lifts them up, and carries them over to their chair. Here's an example of a kind of a rapid prototype scale model of a concept. Tools. So you can see it's a pretty broad range of different types of concepts here. This student really enjoyed cycle. They went back to that as well. This is something I showed earlier in the breakout room, but another example of transportation related products. So this is a scooter project that was done for an electric scooter. Students work on more electronics like this. So this is a smartwatch for surfing. And it's an example of a project that included not only the product design, but also thinking about the experience of the digital interface. This is work done through an internship. Footwear related projects. So we do from time to time have footwear design classes. And so this student designed a line of active footwear for one of the bigger footwear brands in the area. So we go through that typical process, and you can see come up with a concept, and they actually type 2 as part of the class. It's pretty interesting. This was a sustainability project around thinking about how to reuse materials for something useful. So here they're thinking
John,
yes. Yep.
And Piram, I think we're I just got to know we're supposed to end this one and go back to our regular booth. Our time has expired. Yeah.
Okay.
To,
okay, we can go back to the room.
Okay. Yep. All right.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
We'll see everyone over there.
Everyone.
Thank you. Okay. Yep. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
All right, Piram, I've got to hop off this call.
Okay.
Phil's going to hang.
I'll be over there. Yep.
All right.
Thank you, John,
guys
for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See ya.